Welcome to episode 148 of the Sports Marketing Machine podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Nizer. This is the podcast that helps sports teams sell more tickets and grow your fan base. Today, I'm going to dig into a topic that often teams overlook when they're putting together their marketing budget. Because if you think about your marketing budget as a whole, most teams, 80-90% of your marketing budget is allocated to driving single game ticket sales. It's for meta ads, it's for your email marketing, your text message, TV ads, print, whatever it may be. It's designated for single game tickets. The other 10%, maybe 20 or even 30, depending on the team and location, it's allocated to selling group tickets, which totally makes sense. We're trying to push suites, company picnics, parties, and so forth. What I'm going to propose to you is set aside some marketing dollars for lead generation. I'm going to go through in this episode why you should, how it should look, and then how do you get a sponsor involved and what this all looks like. Let's get it on. There is a problem with a lot of sports teams. A lot of sports teams solely rely on growing their database through ticket sales. You are only adding people to your database through ticket sales or through cold outreach. You've got a team of people who are selling group tickets or ticket plans or what have you, and for group sales, they're just going through and smiling and dialing and cold calling people. And for ticket plans, they're taking a look at past ticket buyers, calling them up, see if we can turn someone who came out to multiple games, let's see if we can get them a mini plan or season tickets. Or they're calling businesses trying to get them to buy season tickets, right? But the big thing that I look at this is if you're not constantly trying to grow your database, every season will start with you working through the same list of people that have been on your list for many years. And in many cases, what you'll see is your ad dollars will continue, the ad cost of things will continue to go up. So what I'm going to propose to you is teams absolutely should allocate part of their marketing budget specifically to lead generation. So in this episode, I'm going to kind of unpack what this might look like. There's several clients that I work with running meta ads or helping them with their outreach, and it's specific to driving leads. So let's define what lead generation is, because this kind of gets thrown around loosely. Lead generation is any marketing activity where the primary goal is to capture fan information, not to sell a ticket immediately, but to capture fan information. This could be their name, their email address, zip code, could be their family status, any interest indicators. In sports, this is how you lower future ad costs because you have a larger bucket of people to target who know, like, and trust you. Think about it. If they see something online to enter to win a suite night or a birthday party or whatever it is with your team, they know, like, and trust you. They've immediately given you that information for a chance to win it, which means that they already know who you are. What happens now is a little bit of this mindset shift, right? Ticket sales are the harvest. Lead generation is you planting seeds. The more names you're adding to your database, the more people you're targeting to get them to come to a game, maybe two, the better and bigger list that you give to the ticket sales team to pick up the phone and call about a mini plan or a ticket or even a group outing, right? Most teams only budget for the harvesting part of this, the ticket sales side, specifically single game tickets. But the best teams are the ones are constantly thinking about how to grow your database. So that's what I would propose to you. Most teams don't lose money because their promotions are bad. Most teams lose money because they're always marketing cold, or they're constantly hammering promotions to the people that are on their list, and those people are just simply burnt out from getting the same email over and over and over and over again about promotions that are happening during the season. Most teams lose money when it comes to their promotions because their CRM stops growing. They're trying to get the same fans to rebuy each year, or they're sending out ads and they're only selling single game tickets to new buyers. But if you're growing your database of people in your database, it's actually going to be cheaper for you to get those folks that signed up to enter to win something. You've got that as a list. That's actually going to be cheaper to convert them to single game ticket buyers than if you went out and tried to find any random person to buy. So it is definitely cheaper to sell to people on your list that you have because they already know, like, and trust you. So it's going to be cheaper from an ad dollar perspective versus if you just spend all of your ad dollars out there prospecting and trying to sell more tickets. It's going to cost more that way. So the smart teams are thinking about the big picture here. I gotta grow my database, right? If you only spend on selling tickets now, you're kind of renting the attention. Lead gen actually lets you own it. Remember, everything that happens on Facebook or everything that happens on Instagram or TikTok or any of these places, you are spending money, your money, to rent that ad space, right? So you're saying, hey, Facebook, I want to spend, and I'm going to give you $5 a day for 10 days. So I'm going to give you $50, and I really want to go target people to try to get them to buy more tickets. It's a whole lot different if you say, hey, Meta, here's a list of all of my buyers. I want to go after them to get them to buy tickets. It's a definitely big different thing because you own the list. That's why smart teams intentionally allocate 10% at bare minimum, specifically of their digital marketing budget, or all the way up to 25% for all about list growth and data capturing. Not every dollar that you're spending in that 10 or 25%, whatever range you're comfortable in, has to convert today. Some dollars you're spending to get a lead are going to make it cheaper for you tomorrow as you're running ads. So how do you put this all together? You say, okay, Jeremy, I get it. I want to do lead generation. I'm going to set aside some marketing dollars for lead generation. What should this look like? Well, the first thing you should do or could do is actually look to your sponsors to get them involved. Lead generation with a sponsor is going to carry, in many cases, more weight than if you just did it yourself. So let me give you an example. Fans can enter to win 4 tickets to an upcoming game, or fans can enter to win a year's supply of Chick-fil-A sandwiches. Huge difference, higher perceived value. Or fans can enter to win $100 at Wendy's versus a family 4-pack or $20 to your games or what have you, right? So it's so much more powerful when you have a sponsor involved. Not only are you helping them from an advertising perspective? So let's just say, let's use Chick-fil-A or Wendy's. I'm just going to use them, right? So they come to you, you say, all right, it's $10,000 for a sponsorship. You're getting signage, you're getting tickets. You're also getting this in-game promotion. And then we're also going to do this lead generation campaign. They're going to love it because their impressions are going to be significantly higher than if it was just at your games. So I would carve out some sort of marketing dollars as part of this deal, and you're running a lead generation campaign for an enter to win for Chick-fil-A, right? So the team runs the paid ad promoting the giveaway. Fans opt in. Everyone wins. So why does this work? The sponsor, in many cases, can offset the costs. I've seen this a couple different ways where that 10 grand number that I just mentioned of the sponsorship amount that they're giving you $600 goes to the ad that you're running, or you're taking it out of your marketing budget, but the 10 grand is still going in to the sponsor bucket for the team. So sponsors can offset the cost. The prize feels irresistible, higher perceived value. Fans don't feel sold to. They feel like they're entering to win something, and the team builds a database. I've also seen some teams give that database of enter to wins to the sponsor. So in this case, Chick-fil-A, right? So, but here's the important reframe here. This isn't just a free throw-in. This should be a budgeted acquisition strategy that just happens to be sponsor assisted. So you absolutely could do this without a sponsor, but the more sponsors you have involved, the better it is for everyone, because fans are going to see your logo show up in a bunch of different places. So that's additional branding for you. The sponsor's paying you for you to be able to push it out there, to give away this, to get the impressions that they're looking for. You're building a list. Everyone's winning across the board. Like, it's a win-win-win across the board. If you don't have that, that's okay. You could still do it with your own, but I think you're going to get maximum value if you get a sponsor involved with it, right? So when you think about the proposal and you want to include something like this to the sponsor, it's not a throw-in. It's not an added value, right? This should be part of that budget that you're putting together. That $10,000, part of that is allocated to this acquisition strategy, right? The sponsor doesn't replace the budget. They actually multiply its impact. So you could say, hey, Sponsor X, this is a $2,000 promotion. This is part of your $10,000 deal. Chick-fil-A, we're going to use that as an example. So out of that, maybe you carve off $300 out of the sponsorships to run the ads. And then you have $300 from your own bucket. Now you have $600 that you can use to run this Enter to Win campaign. And it's like so much more valuable when you have these. How many of these should you do during the year? I would absolutely say if you're working in baseball right now, I would start running one, maybe two in February and March, and do a couple of them just to see if you can build some momentum to build your list so you have 600, 1,000 people on your list additionally that you can target during the season to get them to buy tickets. So lead generation without a sponsor. If you want to use a sponsor, marvelous. If you don't, you don't need a sponsor to do this. You absolutely could. You just need a compelling reason for fans to opt in and a clear follow-up plan. There's one thing to run an Enter to Win to get a free suite night at a game, and then there's another thing about not doing anything with the list after you get this. We've all seen this before. You go into Panera Bread or you go into restaurants and you see that fishbowl there. Drop your business card for your chance to win. All right. Okay, how many of those companies actually take all those? They probably give away the winner, but how many do they follow up with the other teams or other companies about doing a catering event with them? It doesn't happen very often, and that's because they're missing the second step of this, and that's the part that I would strongly encourage you. So if you choose to do this without a sponsor, and you say, hey, I'm going to do a suite night or I'm going to do a birthday party or whatever it is, great. That's fantastic. But there has to be a second step here. You get them to Enter to Win, but how are you following up with all the other people that did not win? So what are some ideas that you could do with this? All right, you got a clear follow-up plan. Let's talk through some ideas. You could do an Enter to Win, a family 4-pack or a family pack of tickets and a meal to a game. Super simple. You're probably not going to get hundreds of thousands of people. All right. You get free kids club. You could do something like that. You're running an ad for free kids club. You could do birthday parties. Enter to Win a free birthday party package. On the form, though, I would say, hey, what's the birth date of your child that you would like to celebrate? So now, let's just say you give away one of those, all of the other ones, you got the birth date of the kid, and you can go back to them and say, hey, sorry that you didn't win, but here's the package. We'll give you 10% off. You don't even have to do that, but thinking through what that second part of it is, the follow-up plan and what your questions you're including in there to help you understand who you're selling to and how to follow up with them. So regardless if you use the family 4-pack or you do the kids club or you opportunity to sit in the dugout for the fireworks, or you're doing a free sweet night, you're asking them additional questions. What company do you work for? Or you're doing it for the birthday party and you're asking, hey, when's the birth date of the kid that you'd like to celebrate at the game? Like, now you're building a really good list of some folks that you've qualified now that you can follow back up with that you would be able to sell. See how this is all coming together? So even if you're just going to say, Jeremy, I have a marketing budget of 60 grand. I think I'm going to put $1,000 to this. If you put $1,000 to this, you could really get some momentum before the season, even during the season, of growing your database of fans and segmenting them and understanding who's buying, and have a really good targeted list specifically for higher dollar things. So let's just run it through. Let's just say, for example, you do the sweet night. You've got suites at your game. We're going to say, hey, enter to win a sweet night with food at one of our games. One of your games, you're going to run $500 and a sweet night is $1,000. So you're $1,500 in. If you sell to that list 2 people, it paid for itself, and then you still have a list of people that are potentially interested. So it could easily become an additional source for your sales team to make more money. So you could absolutely 100% do this with a sponsor, but you could also do this on your own and have some segmented questions in there. So let's talk through the economics of this. I kind of briefly broke it down of, well, if the sweet night costs this and you're running this, and you only need to sell that to break even and make more money, like all of that is great. But if you did, you think about this a little bit, if it took you $1.50, let's just say it took $1.50, you did the math and it worked out, it was $1.50 to acquire a contact name and an email address, and that one fan buys $25 in tickets to a game. You've completely won. You have absolutely won. And that's not even talking about the concessions and merch. And now you have someone that has enjoyed the experience at your game, and your job is to turn them into multi-game buyers. So it's such a great opportunity for you. Lead generation isn't an expense, is an inventory acquisition in so many different channels. So how do you allocate budget the smart way? So I would look at it this way. I would say, okay, 60 to 80% direct ticket sales. We're trying to sell ticket sales. 10% we're going to push for lead generation, and then 20% for groups. So if you had a $100,000 budget, 70,000 single game tickets, a 10,000 maybe, is this right? Yeah, 10,000 of that is towards lead generation and 20,000 is towards selling group tickets. You've got a budget like that. Like, you could do some damage and really grow your database in so many different ways, but you have to be strategic around it. The other thought too is you don't have to do lead generation before the start of your season. I was just giving you that as an example. I see teams are doing that even when the season's over. I see teams doing that in the off season. Like, the teams that are constantly doing that, and they're running them with or without sponsors, even in the off seasons, keeping the team top of mind, sponsorships getting tremendous value beyond your season. And then it's like you're continuing to keep the motions going for your upcoming season. Like, you're building so much more momentum for the upcoming season. So, quick checklist for you. What makes lead gen actually work? Number 1, the opt-in must feel valuable. It has to be a high perceived value. Could be the sweet night, could be the birthday party. If you get a sponsor involved, Chick-fil-A does a year's worth of Chick-fil-A sandwiches, or Wendy's gives you $100. Like, it has to have some sort of substantial value to it. The opt-in form must be simple. I know teams that use Google Forms as the opt-in form. Totally fine. I also know teams that are also using some other different softwares to do different promotions or campaigns. you can absolutely use different softwares. Minor League Baseball has a deal to be able to grow and use their softwares that they have. A lot of hockey teams use softwares. But if you're in college and you're not paying for a license through another company to do some sort of lead generation like this, I think it absolutely makes sense. Simple wise, just run it through a Google form. It's free, right? The follow-up must take place within 24 to 48 hours when they enter to win. Hey, congratulations, Jeremy. You've entered to win this birthday party package. We will be giving this away on XYZ date. Stay tuned. There should be an immediate understanding of what the next step is. So, and it must take place either on the thank you page or a follow-up within 24 hours. It must happen then. And then from your end, you must segment it and have it kind of organized. So if you're going to do that birthday party thing that I said, a really good thing for you is, okay, let me organize all of these into the people that are going to have birthdays during the months of my season so I can sell them a birthday party package, right? And then the next piece of this, if you're just doing it for ticket plans and single game tickets, like take that list and make sure they make it into your email software. Make sure the export import process takes place so they're added to your list so that you can continue to follow up with this one. So I like to think like leads don't die because they're bad. They die because teams ignore them. I can't tell you how many times I've seen teams are like, hey, we ran an enter to win, and all the leads are still sitting in the enter to win. They don't make it into the second step here, which is to follow up with these people to get them to buy something at your games. Like you want them to come to your games. They've entered to win. You give away one. The others can be added to your list. So make sure they are. All right, let's land this plane. Here's the action steps for you. When you are building next season's marketing budget, or if you're a smack dab in the middle of your season, maybe you're in hockey or basketball or what have you, right? Don't ask, how much are we spending on ads? Ask, how much are we spending to build a bigger audience for us? And that is building your audience through potentially enter to wins, these lead generation campaigns. Because the teams who win long term aren't just better at selling tickets, they're better at building lists. They're better at understanding the strategy of like, I gotta get people at the top of my funnel, more and more people at the top, because I get a bigger audience at the top, the more tickets I'm gonna sell out the bottom. So if you want some help kind of mapping out a lead gen plan, rather sponsored or even you just do it yourself, hop on over to sportsmarketingmachine.com, schedule a call. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about what this might look like, how you put this all together, what assets and items that you have that are high perceived value that fans would absolutely go bonkers over. So hop on over to sportsmarketingmachine.com, schedule a call. Love to just meet with you, chat with you about this. But most importantly, I want to see you win. I want to see you succeed, and I want to see you grow your fan base and sell more tickets. Until next time.